Hey, good morning, everyone. And we want to welcome you to another episode of Pillow Talk Lounge. We're glad you joined us today. I'm James Green.
And I am your other host, Cynthia Green, the Connector. Together, we are the founders of Marriage Built to Last, where our motto is,
if you build it, it will last. And also, Cynthia is the founder of Wife Life. So all you wives out there, I suggest you connect with Cynthia. It's a good platform. Trust me on that one.
Thank you, babe. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. So you guys, y'all know I always want, well, first of all, make sure that you hit the share button, share this out. We're excited to be live with you today. As you come into the room, tell us where you're watching from, who you are, what you're doing this morning. We just want to hear from you. So make sure you're sharing.
Yes. And like Cynthia said, it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, if it's YouTube, if it's any type of podcast, we'd like to know. And we just ask you to share it out, because when we talk about information, you know, that's how others learn about things, through information, through sharing. And that's what we ask you to do.
Right. And you guys, you know, I love to ask this question every Saturday morning, like, what did y'all have for breakfast this morning? And I have to tell y'all, we did not have our normal traditional breakfast. It was close. But y'all, my baby made the best omelet this morning. It was tasty. It was fat. Oh my gosh. She had lots of green spinach in there, onions, garlic, and the spicy buffalo chicken. Oh my gosh, it was so good, y'all. With I had a little small piece of bacon and grits. It was so good. So what did you have for breakfast? Share with us what you had for breakfast. We want to know what y'all doing over there in your kitchen on Saturday mornings, right? So today we're going to jump right into this. Mm-hmm. We're asking an important question. And honestly, it's probably a little bit uncomfortable, but we want to ask you, why don't people take marriage seriously? Right? We people plan for the engagement party. They plan the engagement. They spend months preparing for the wedding. I mean, some people spend a whole year planning for the wedding. They discuss the dress, the venue, the flowers, the food, the people, the guest list, the music, and the honeymoon. They plan the honeymoon like, you know, you go online and you find it and you pay all the money. You plan everything. They plan when they purchase a house. They plan their careers. Sometimes they plan for them when they want to have children. They plan the vacation. But people never create a plan for the actual marriage.
Exactly.
And we want to know, why is that?
Right. Because when you think of a wedding, right? A wedding lasts how long? A few hours. But how long is a marriage supposed to last?
No, the ceremony itself is only like maybe 20 minutes at the most.
If you add the ceremony in with the reception and everything, it's a few hours. Mm-hmm. And trust me, you're paying for it, not like Cynthia said, not only the wedding, but the reception. If you have a live band, if you have food, you may have to pay per plate. Is that correct?
You do pay per plate.
Right, and everything else. So how long is that? A few hours? But how long is a marriage supposed to be? A lifetime, correct? See, I always say people put all this money into the wedding. They pay for the wedding. If there's a divorce, they have to pay for the divorce. Maybe child support, maybe alimony. All this money you pay for a wedding and you pay for divorce, but you don't want to pay to learn how to be married. And that's the key. Sometimes it takes a cost to learn how to be married, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you guys, type wedding in the comments or marriage in the comments. Did you plan a wedding? And did you plan a marriage?
See?
So if you plan both, put both. But if you only planned the wedding, put wedding
Right.
in the comments. If you planned your marriage, put marriage in
And
the
I
comments.
can say, Cynthia and I, we planned a simple wedding. We did it together. We were
I don't
planning.
know if you call that simple.
Well, we were planning more for the marriage and for the lifetime, actually, than we were for the wedding. You know, and that's the thing. Your focus should be on, okay, like I always say, you stand before the pastor or the courthouse, wherever you go, and say, I do. Right? Then you're saying, I do to what? You're saying, I do to being married. But what are you saying about, you say, I do, I will. So then after you get married, you still say, I do. Because we talk to couples that say, I don't know what more I could do. I did all I could. I tried. I.
Yes.
Why don't you focus on the we? Open those lines of communication. Baby, now that we're married, what can we do to make sure it works? What can we do to make sure we have a long marriage? What can we do? Yeah, I bet you she can. But it's like, what can we do now? Even when you have conflict, what can we do to solve the conflict? It shouldn't be always about I. The focus is in the wrong place.
So our first point is
people prepare for the event, but they don't always prepare for the covenant, and people look at it as a contract. Okay, we're entering in this agreement. That's a contract. In a covenant, you're standing before God, coming to the blessings between God and humanity, God and your marriage. We always talk about the three-stranded cord. God should always be in the middle of your marriage because that's how your marriage thrives. That's how they grow spiritually. That's how it keeps you connected.
Right. A wedding is an event. Marriage is a covenant.
Exactly.
So the wedding is the public celebration, but guess what? The marriage is the life you build together after everybody goes home.
Right.
So people may hire a wedding planner, but they never work with a marriage coach or counselor before they get married. Sometimes we might meet with our pastor, have a few meetings, meetings with them, but do we really still plan for the marriage? We attend the cake tastings. We go to the dress fittings.
Right.
We do venue tours.
Look, you even have to pay for what you call it, the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, but they never have a serious conversation about finances, about communication, about family expectations, their faith, intimacy. Oh my gosh, so many couples don't talk about that before they get married. Conflict, parenting. Even sometimes you talk about your vision for the future, but we're not against amazing marriage weddings. Trust me, we're not. But you celebrate your love, and we want you to do that. But the ceremony should never ever receive more preparation than the actual covenant, and that's what really happens.
Right. Like Cynthia and I always say that people come from different backgrounds. Yeah. And people were raised differently. So when you enter into a marriage union, you got to remember the things you do may not be the way the things she does.
Right.
Everybody, like, especially raising children. She might have her way of raising children. He might have his way. And it might always maybe be some conflict. That's why it's important to, like Cynthia said, go see a counselor. Because your backgrounds are different. You was raised differently. Everyone has different ideas. And so for marriage, you have to come on the same page. So you got to blend those ideas. Maybe a little bit of what she believes, a little bit of what he believes, bringing those together to make sure you have that great family. It says in Genesis 2:24, teaches that a man leaves his father and mother and joins to his wife, and they become one flesh. So how do you become one flesh? You got to combine his and hers into one. Not, oh, it's the way I do things, or it's the way she does things. It's the way you both need to do things.
Right. You're learning to unite your lives together. You're learning each other's values, your habits, your families, your finances, expectations, and your future. So yes, you do plan for the marriage. You talk about all these things before you get married. But let me tell you, once you get into the house, you're still learning. You're still planning. You're still becoming that one What's my phone? Oh, here we go. Here we go. So I have a question for everyone. Before getting married, tell us one conversation every couple needs to have. What is that one conversation that every couple should have?
Right. And put your answers in the comment.
Yeah.
Because it's important that, you talk about the questions that couples have when you enter into marriage. So put it in the comments.
Right. Is it money? Is it communication? Is it children? Is it faith? Is it family boundaries? Is it your career goals? Is it your household responsibilities? There's no insignificant area when two people are preparing to build one life. I can tell you guys this, like we did all the stuff to prepare for marriage, to prepare for our future, to prepare for life. But there was one area that we didn't talk about because we didn't realize that it was really happening. And we didn't realize it was something we needed to talk about. We thought that was just going to work out. And guess what? It was the one area that we had conflict in the first year of our marriage. And that was the blending the whole family together. The fact that we were bringing in children into the marriage, and we didn't talk about the in-laws and all of that stuff.
And the funny thing is that we talked about everything but that.
Yep.
Right. Even though here we go.
Hey.
But that's the thing. We talked about everything. And the one area we didn't talk about, blending families, is the one area we had an issue with when we first got married.
Yep.
So, that makes you talk about expectations and your values. Because when a couple gets together, his values may not be the same as her values. And when you talk about where do we see ourselves in 5 years, 10 years, it could be different. So you have to bring those together and combine them.
It's so funny, and I'm not putting no one down. Everybody talk about when celebrities get engaged and how they see them here doing this and doing that, and they seem so in love. And then they all of a sudden they've had this secret wedding, and the wedding costs millions of dollars, and everybody's so excited about the wedding. And then 6 months later, a year later, they're no longer together.
Exactly.
People so excited about the wedding. They so excited that these two celebrity couples got together, or this celebrity couple got together with this famous sports player, and everybody's talking about it on social media. But nobody's like wondering, how's the marriage going to work?
Right.
What are they combining? What are they doing to make sure they have a successful marriage? That's always my thought, my question. Like, they're planning this wedding, everybody's all excited, they're talking about it, but who is making sure they're gonna produce a healthy marriage,
and
a strong marriage?
A beautiful, healthy wedding does not automatically say you're going to have a beautiful and healthy marriage.
Hello?
Having a healthy marriage has to be intentionally built.
Yes.
You have to build it on principles. You have to build it on the two of you coming together.
That's so true. So that's why we say, if you build it, it will
last. And we talk about building it the correct way.
Yeah, you cannot successfully build without a blueprint.
Right.
So what does your blueprint look out? So point number 2, right? People in a marriage with expectations, but without a shared vision.
Exactly.
So most people have expectations about marriage, about their mate, their spouse, even if they have never expressed them. So they have these expectations about how a husband should behave, how a wife should act, but how their money should be managed, who should cook, if somebody should cook, how holidays should be celebrated. They don't always talk about that, but they have expectations. How often relatives should visit or friends come over, and how disagreements should be handled. They have these expectations in their head, but what's the problem, babe?
They don't talk about it.
That's right.
And my thing is, like you said, when you talked about the holidays, you don't know. One person may want, just simple, just us family, and another person may want a big with all their family. And like we always say, unspoken expectations lead to unmet expectations, or like I like to say, unspoken expectations lead to disappointment.
That's right.
Because if you don't talk about it and they're not spoken, you're disappointed because you're thinking this is going to happen, and when it doesn't happen, now you're upset, now you're disappointed, and sometimes it leads to anger, and anger can lead to lashing out, and lashing out can lead to an argument.
That's right. And so you assume that your spouse knows what you need, but your spouse cannot respond to expectations that you never communicated to them.
So that's the key when you're talking, when you first get married. Talk about expectations. What do you expect? What do you expect? You can talk about what do you expect, not only in the marriage, not only for the future, but even like the little things. What do you expect about our finances? What do you expect, like Cynthia said, about the holidays? What do you expect? I can tell you what I expect, and then you hear what you expect, and you come together and come to some type of agreement.
Right. You know what, you guys? Two people can love each other so much. Like, I just admire true love. I love Black love, but I admire true love, right? So we can love each other so deeply and still have completely different ideas of what the marriage looks like. We have a different picture of what love looks like, right? And so if we don't talk about it, then it's like James said, it leads to disappointment. So one person might believe that spending time together means being in the same house. The other person might believe that spending time together means sitting together on the couch, talking, getting each other's undivided attention, and having a real conversation. And we've seen that when we talk to couples. He's good because she comes home from work every day and she's home and she's cooking and she's cleaning and she's, moving around the house and, she's there. So to him, he's good.
Because you're both in the same place.
Yeah, because you're both in the same place. You're both in the same house. But to her, she wants him to come over and give her a hug, to look at her, to
sit
talk
together
to her.
and talk. Right.
Yeah,
there you go.
To like come in the kitchen. But see, for me, when I'm in the kitchen cooking and James in the bedroom, I go back there, what you doing? He says, nothing. I said, well, why don't you come in the kitchen and sit at the bar and talk to me while I'm cooking? And so he used to automatically do that. Sometimes now I kind of have to remind him, but I understand. Because sometimes when he comes home from work, he just wants to go lay down and rest for a few moments. And I get that. But what one may want, the other doesn't know because you never truly explained it.
And that's when it comes to finances. One may want to save money. Maybe we're saving for this, or we're saving for our future. We need a nest egg in case something happens. Say the car breaks down. Say you lose your job. And then one may want to spend money now. Oh, we have it. Let's spend it. You can't, like old people always say, when you die, you can't take the money with you. So why not spend it right now? You know what I'm saying? But it's a key to talk about. And like we always suggest, who's ever better with the finances, they should handle the finances. Like, for example, making a big purchase. It's something you should talk about when you make a big purchase. You just can't make a purchase and come and say, babe, look what I bought. Wait a minute. You ain't telling me you bought that. You just went out and bought it. Because you're blending your finances together. That is always a key to talk about those type of things. Neither person is not necessarily wrong. It's just their way of thinking, just the way they look at things and have a commitment toward things different from you. That's why it's always important to talk about those things.
That's so true, babe. That is so true. Marriage shouldn't just simply be two individuals living separate lives at the same address. It should be a strong marriage requires intentionality. It's an agreement about what you want that life to look like. It's about what are you building together. Our tagline, if you build it, it will last. It didn't just come from a whim. It came from a revelation. It came from vision. A strong marriage requires an agreement about what you want to build. Where do you want your family to be in 5 years?
5 years, exactly. Because you could be, say, if you're young and you get married in an apartment. You could say, well, don't we want to go from an apartment to a townhome and maybe from a townhome to a single family home? Or you just want to go straight to a single family home. And what does that take? That takes talking. That takes communication. That takes planning. And that takes the two of you coming together, talking about, okay, if this is where we want to be, this is how we have to start,
Right. So how do you handle, what do you want your home to feel like? Have you ever thought about like that? Like when people come to the house, they're like, oh gosh, your house is so peaceful. And we realize that ourselves and we love that. That's why we love coming home. So think about that. How do you want your home to feel? What values will guide your decisions? How will you protect your marriage while pursuing your career and your responsibilities? Because life gets busy, y'all. How will you keep your connection between the two of you strong?
And especially when it comes to conflict, how will you handle conflict? Will you sit there, like Cynthia always says, Don't come to a disagreement. Come, just ready to argue or ready to talk. Come with a solution. So if you both come with a solution, you hear her solution and you hear his solution, you bring those solutions together to handle the conflict. We're not saying one person is always right, but it's right if you talk about it.
Mostly right, though.
If you come to an agreement together.
So here's our next audience question, right? Do you believe every couple should create a written vision for their marriage? Type yes in the comments if you believe that. And if you think it's not necessary, it's okay to type no.
Right.
Either one. You can type either one because. Right.
I was going to say, talking about a shared vision coming together, how it helps you and it gives you accountability because each person has to do their part.
Right.
And to do your part, you need to come say, all right, babe, I did this part. Is your part done? It just brings y'all together.
Right.
Accountability.
And honestly, a shared vision gives the marriage direction. That's why we're called marriage visionary strategists. When we work with couples, we actually help them create a written vision for their marriage, for their future, based on their common values and goals, right? And so when life becomes difficult, you have something greater than that current situation or problem that's going on, right? Reminding you why you are building together. Because when you don't have a vision for the future and you don't have something to look forward to and a situation comes up, you get caught in that moment.
Right.
And then sometimes you're ready to just call it quits because you're not thinking about, okay, this is not the real problem. We got something going on here. We got some things that we're building. We're going forward. Right. We're going somewhere in this marriage. So you know what? We're going to figure this thing out. And
then when you think about plan, if you have a plan, say a business plan, a plan for how you're going to do business, a plan for your vacation, a plan for your finances, a plan for your home, say purchasing a home.
That's so true.
If you think you have a plan for all this, if you do that, that means you have a plan for your marriage.
You can have a plan. Right. You can create a plan for your marriage.
Because you're planning for all of this. And that means you're planning for your marriage also. That's part of your plan.
That's right.
Creating all of that.
Yeah. Your marriage deserves a vision.
Right.
It deserves a vision. So let's talk about point number 3. People assume love is enough. Now, y'all heard me talk about that kind of a little bit at the beginning because, we see the all right. Here we go.
And
third point.
Because I was going to say our internet keeps going out because a lot of times they're working in the area. We happen to live in the country and they'll send an email out late saying, oh, we're doing work in your area. And by that time, it already went in and out and they fixed it. But anyway, people think love, just assume love is enough, right? But love doesn't develop the skills that is required to have a successful marriage. People will go, but baby, I love you. Isn't that enough? No, that's not enough. And a lot of times people don't even say it. You just assume we're married now. Why should I keep saying I love you when we're already married? I love you. I would have married you. But love, that's the key because love is essential and love alone doesn't teach you how to have communication, great communication.
It doesn't resolve conflict.
Right.
It doesn't manage your money.
It doesn't rebuild the trust if the trust is broken.
It doesn't teach you to forgive.
Right.
It doesn't support each other through major life changes. It does not do that. Right. It can help, but it doesn't do it.
But listen to this. Love is an action word. You should show love.
Hey,
you can't just say it. You have to show it. You have to show love. First, you need to find out, say, your spouse's love language. And once you discover their love language, show love that way. Love is an action word. If you know what their love language is, do those things to show them that you love them and not just assume.
Right.
Because people just assume all the time.
Right. So you can sincerely love somebody and still communicate in a way that hurts them. And we see this all the time when we're working with couples. You can love somebody and
Yep.
still avoid the difficult conversations. We are afraid to hold those conversations because we think it's going to create more conflict. But we've learned that when you talk about it, you get
Right.
over it.
But see, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know how to communicate, and they don't want to talk about it because they think talking about it is going to create an issue.
Right.
So they don't want to talk about it. Say, God, if I bring this up, then we're going to get into an argument.
You can love somebody and still bring unhealthy habits into the relationship. You can love somebody and still need tools, wisdom, support, and accountability. Love is just not enough, you guys. It's not. You need more.
That's right. And just think of it for a minute. You know, we receive training in almost everything that matters in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. We take classes to learn how to drive a car. That's or take training.
If you want a license.
Like for your job.
That's a good one. They should require you to take classes to get a marriage license. You should have to turn in your certificate that you completed your marriage classes. Man, that would be real good. That might really help some people to make that decision about going forward.
If you have to take driving lessons.
That's right. Take marriage lessons. Oh.
Just like in your careers. Sometimes you have to take training in your career to learn how to do your job. So that's the thing. You know, business, you have to do all types of things to take training, to take classes, to learn how to do things.
Athletes have training. Businesses hire coaches or somebody to do certain things within their business.
Right. Churches.
Go ahead.
Churches, you know, prepare ministers for leadership.
In the church.
Right. To be a leader in the church, you have to go through classes.
To be a leader.
Exactly. Yeah. So why not take training to learn how to be married?
Right. You enter to the most serious, most important commitment of your life. And you believe that you should automatically know how to make it work. And y'all, that's not true.
Nothing is automatic nowadays.
It's not true. Marriage takes work. And I always say it can be fun work, but we've got to start taking it more seriously. When challenges come, some couples feel embarrassed to get help. They believe needing support means their marriage is failing. No, it means you care about your marriage. Right. Healthy couples do not wait until the house is burning to learn where the fire extinguisher is.
And like you say, you know, getting support and getting help does not mean your marriage is weak. Like I always say, it's better to have preventive maintenance than I can't think of it. You know, some people act on impulse.
Then after help. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say, babe. Preventative help, yes.
Right. You go to help. You get help before it happens, so you know how to handle it when it happens. Mm-hmm. You don't go get help. When it's happening.
I want to read Proverbs 15:22.
Let me just say preventive maintenance instead of corrective maintenance. You know,
that's good, baby.
Because you're trying to prevent something from happening when it does, you know how to handle it instead of corrective maintenance when it's happening right there.
Yeah. So I was going to say Proverbs 15:22 says, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. So wise counsel can help couples recognize patterns that they cannot see for themselves. And we've seen it when we coach couples. We will help him to see her point of view and help him to see her point of view. And then they start seeing these patterns and why things are happening the way they have. And then their marriage turns around. Right. So this stuff is important. So let's talk about point number 4. Point number 4 is marriage is treated like a feeling instead of a daily commitment. You know, so many times, you know, couples are just saying, you know, he makes me feel this way, or he don't make me feel that way, or I feel so disappointed. I feel this way, I feel that way. But marriage is a commitment. Nobody can make you feel happy all the time. People let me just say this. Feelings are important. Trust me. Yes, they are. They are important, but your feelings change. Your commitment to your marriage should not. You will not wake up every day feeling the same emotions that you felt during the engagement or on your wedding day. Life, we got so many things that happens in life. We got responsibilities. We may have children. We've got our careers and our businesses to worry about.
If you have children, you may have them in all kinds of activities. You're running around doing so much.
That's what I'm
when
saying.
You have time for each other.
That's what I'm saying. You got the bills. You got health concerns. You're tired. You got transitions that happen in your life. You got unexpected challenges. These things happen. And so you're not always going to, now, challenges happen in my life, and some of us know how to really handle them. So my feelings, my emotions don't necessarily change to a negative in my whole life because that's going on, because I've trained my heart, I've trained myself, and I have the Holy Spirit to help me. But what's he gonna say?
I was gonna say, taking marriage seriously means understanding the commitment that you made to each other, and it must remain active. Even when the feelings fluctuate, because feelings are going to fluctuate, things are going to happen, but you still have to make that commitment to maintain that marriage and to talk about it. Marriage is not something you just put on autopilot and let it go. Okay, we're married now, baby. Let's just do it. And that's how people think sometimes. Okay, let's get married. Now that you're married, okay, we're married. Let's keep living our lives and doing it like it's on autopilot. It doesn't mean you're on autopilot.
No.
You have to continuously talk about the commitment and talk about your marriage to each other.
Every day you gotta communicate. You gotta
choose to listen. Yep. Exactly. You can't just listen to hear. You have to listen to understand.
You gotta choose to forgive.
Right.
You gotta choose to spend time together. It's not gonna just happen, and you have to keep choosing to protect
the relationship.
There you go,
because
babe.
As time goes on, things change. Maybe your values change. Maybe your thoughts change.
Right.
So you can't keep, like people always say, you can't do the things in your 40s and 50s that you were doing in your 20s.
That's right.
And that's the same with the marriage. As the marriage starts growing, the things you like, you may not like now. The things you didn't like, you may like now. So you have to choose to communicate. You have to choose that commitment to talk about it.
Right.
To talk about the things that change, that evolve. As time goes on, you evolve, and you have to talk about all those things that change.
And marriage doesn't become disconnected because of one small moment, one small dramatic moment. Disconnection often happens through when the little small thing that's happening along the way. So you got to get serious about your commitment to your marriage.
Yep.
Yeah, and that happens when you say things like, we will not wait for a crisis before we invest in us. We will not wait for a crisis before we think about how our marriage is going right now in the moment. We're going to keep being intentional. That's why one of our favorite words is an intentional marriage. We're going to keep being intentional. Yep. So I got a question for you. It's for every couple. What is one thing you can do this week to strengthen your marriage? One thing. Put your answer in the comments.
I was just going to say,
let's make a commitment.
It could be something like we do every Friday. What do we do on Fridays?
We do a date night.
Date night.
So like yesterday, I went to spend time with my neighbors. We try to get
on our date night.
No, but we had I said, babe, we got to have our date before we go. We have to have our date before I leave.
See, that's a great example that we talked about it. We know Friday is our date night, but she has something to do on Friday. So we talked about doing something else in advance, doing something a different day. See, that's what we're trying to get across to you guys, the commitment and the communication.
Right.
I knew she had something to do, so we expect them to do something on a different day, something we talk about.
Yes. So I'm going to put this inside of our Facebook group, Marriage Built to Last Movement. So make sure you go over and join the Facebook group, Marriage Built to Last Movement. But I want to give you guys just a simple challenge. Set aside some time this week for what we call a marriage planning conversation, right? Turn off the TV, put your phones away, sit down together and truly discuss these 4 questions. And I know you're not going to have time to write them all down because we're wrapping up, but I'm going to put them in our Facebook group. What is going well in our marriage? Where have we become disconnected? What do we want to what do we want our marriage and family to look like over the next year? And what is one action we can take immediately to move towards that vision? And like I said, I'm going to post them in the group, but I just want you to, right now, just think about a day this week that you and your spouse can sit down, or your partner can sit down and have a marriage planning discussion.
Right. And I just want to say, just remember, guys, planning your marriage is not predicting every challenge, because you're going to face challenges. They're going to come up when you're probably not even ready for it, but it is deciding how you face life together. And that is the key, facing life together.
And I did want to say this. If you're going to do the challenge, write in the comments, we're doing the Cynthia, we accept the challenge. Type, we're at Cynthia, we're accepting the challenge. Write that in the comments. So you guys, right now we want to do a virtual recap of our pre-party that we had on Thursday night. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So we had a great time. We did so much on that call. We had people come on there and share their love story live. Yeah. They shared about the experiences that they had at our past Couples Fest. You know what is so amazing? We had 3 people on the call that still had their 3-stranded cord rope that we used at the
vow renewal at the last.
No, it wasn't the last.
It was 2 years ago. Right, it was 2 years ago.
One couple had theirs tied on the bedpost in their room. Another couple, I forgot what she said, they keep theirs. And then the other couple got on and they had theirs wrapped around their neck on the live show. That was so cool. Right. We played Let's Make a Deal game. And just so you guys know, we're going to play a real live Let's Make a Deal game.
We gave away prizes in that game. We had live music.
And we're going to do it live at Couples Fest. And we're going to have some really good prizes, just like on Let's Make a Deal. You watch. And then we got the DJ. We had a dance off on there. That was so cool. We could see people in the Facebook room, the Zoom rooms, and they were jamming, so that it was just really a whole lot of fun. So we met, and you also got to meet some of our Couples Fest partners. Yep. That are going to be speaking at the conference. We had the Duncans, the McAllisters, the Wrights, the Pryors, and so many other people. My mom got on, my sister. That was so nice. I was so thankful. So,
and everything was based around our theme for this year at Couples Fest, which is Fruits of the Spirit.
That's right. And right. So thank you to everyone who joined us, who participated, who shared your stories, who danced, who played the games, and who celebrated with us.
Because this is something, when people get involved and people, come through like they did, this is something we don't take for granted. We don't take lightly. We do appreciate everyone that participated, everyone that's a part of it. And we just thank you.
If you attended the virtual pre-party, post in the comments, I was there. Yay! Thank you so much. So that leads us into our invitation today. We want you to come out and spend an entire weekend with us, surrounded by couples who are serious about being building stronger and healthier and more joyful relationships. Couples Fest is happening September 18th to 19th, 2026 at the Weddin National Harbor in Maryland. This is more than an event. It's an experience. It's designed to help couples reconnect, have some fun, learn together, and strengthen their vision for their relationship. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a date night because y'all know we're serious about our date night. So Friday night is truly a date night experience. We do a lot of things from sexy fitness routines to hand dancing, line dancing. Throughout the weekend, we're going to have really engaging speakers. We have interactive conversations. We're having roundtable discussions this year, panels. We have a couple of amazing venues. All right. We're back. Sorry about the internet confusion, you guys. But don't spend your whole year planning everything except your relationship.
Right.
Every year you should be doing something to grow, build, upgrade, and be intentional about your relationship.
Because
So
think of it for a minute, that if you have a career every year, don't you want to raise? Don't you want to go further? If you're a worker, maybe you want to be a supervisor, or maybe you want to be the manager. If you think of growing in your career, why don't you think of growing in your marriage?
That's so true. So we want you to make an intentional investment and come to Couples Fest. You know, it does take an investment, but you're being intentional about your relationship. So if you're planning to come, you're ready to join us, just type Couples Fest in the comments. Couples Fest is one word and the F is capitalized. Type Couples Fest in there. Today we shared 4 reasons people may not take marriage as seriously as they should. We said they prepare for the event, but not the covenant. We said they enter with expectations, but without a shared vision. They assume, number 3 was, we said they assume love is enough, and they do not develop the relationship skills that they need to be successful. And then number 4, we said they treat marriage like a feeling instead of a daily commitment. The wedding is one day, but the marriage is a lifetime. Your marriage deserves preparation. Your marriage deserves a real shared vision. Your marriage deserves ongoing investment.
And vision is what? Purpose that you can see.
Oh, that's
so
good,
if you think that you're intentionally doing things to strengthen your marriage on purpose, that's where your vision comes to fruition.
Thank you for joining us today on Pillow Talk Lounge. Hit the share button and share this with somebody who needs to learn these 4 tips that we talked about. And invite another couple to come with you to Couples Fest. Make it a weekend getaway. Make it a couples weekend hangout time. And so we want to thank you. We're James and Cynthia Green of Marriage Built to Last, hosts of the Pillow Talk Lounge. And remember, if you build it, it will last. God bless you guys.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.